pocket full of roses, ashes, ashes, we all fall down.
You! It was you, wasn't it?
I'm here for you, James.
This video essay contains major spoilers for the game of Silent Hill 2. If you haven't experienced the game yet, I highly suggest playing it first, then coming back to watch this video later. Have you ever wondered why it is that some people cling on to certain memories, even if they continue to hurt them in some way? Memories of past lovers or certain traumatic events that shape them into who they are now? Why is this so difficult for some people to move on from their past, even if that past is filled with pain, remorse, or regret? Could we assume that these very memories might provide a sense of comfort for those who choose to latch on to them? Is there even a choice, or are they simply unable to let go of the pain they carry deep within themselves? For those of you who are not familiar with the story of Silent Hill 2, I'll now provide a brief summary of the events of the game. If you wish to skip this section, click on the timestamp listed above. Throughout the game, the player experiences the narrative through the eyes of James Sutherland, a man who arrives in a foggy, desolate town known as Silent Hill. After receiving a letter from his deceased wife Mary, James ventures into this mysterious town to uncover the truth about whether or not his wife is still alive and waiting for him there. At a certain point in the game, James meets Maria, a woman who looks strikingly like his wife Mary, but has a mysterious yet flirtatious attitude towards James. Maria claims that her and his wife Mary are two separate people and are in no way related, but insists on staying with James for the remainder of the game. As the story progresses, James and Maria become separated in a long hallway after a chase sequence. James manages to get away just in time, but witnesses Maria's death by the hands of the creature known as Pyramid Head. Not too long after, James finds himself confused during this encounter with Maria, who is now alive and trapped behind bars in a jail cell, where she delivers the famous line, "I'm not your Mary."
Aren't you Maria?
I'm not your Mary.
So, you're Maria?
I am. If you want me to be.
This is known as a pivotal moment in the game, where James is forced to accept the idea that Maria is not as honest and as real as he thought she was, but rather a construct created by his psyche in order to deal with his internal struggle with his past. When we think of the word comfort, we often think of physical objects like a cozy chair or a soft pillow. But comfort can come in different ways, like a familiar song or the memory of someone we lost. This feeling, often tied to nostalgia, transports us to a time when life felt safer and more meaningful. For James, his memories of Mary embodied this sense of warmth, offering fleeting moments of comfort amongst the chaos. Maria, an idealized projection of Mary, brings these memories to life, providing James with a connection to the past and a temporary break from his unavoidable pain. Similarly, the Silent Hill 2 soundtrack serves as a powerful tool for evoking nostalgia and comforting memories. Composed by Akira Yamaoka, the music deeply enhances the emotional landscape of the game. Tracks like Theme of Laura and Promise mirror the core elements of grief and longing, much like the very memories James carries within him. Meanwhile, the peaceful tunes of Forest and Null Moon stand out against the unsettling world of Silent Hill. Their role is to give players a break from the game's chaos and provide a sense of temporary safety amongst the unavoidable challenges the player must face. They also serve as a reminder of how James holds on to comforting personified versions of his memories. Together, the music of Silent Hill and James's story create a blend of comfort and pain. These songs become memories of their own, sticking with the player long after the game ends. But over time, the music's effects create an unexpected feeling of peace and nostalgia, in contrast to their initial depressing and dark implications, showing how sometimes when a present unsettling experience becomes a memory, it may offer us peace and joy, giving us the strength towards what's to come. Most Silent Hill fans would probably agree with me on this, but one cannot just have a conversation about Silent Hill without mentioning its sounds, which is the very reason why I added this small section. The musical aspect of Silent Hill alone is enough for me to go on for hours, but I'll have to leave this topic for another day, because today I'll be taking a different path. While writing the script for this video essay, I've come up with some questions which I want you to keep in mind while you listen to me ramble about the game. Do our past experiences truly define who we are? How much freedom do we truly have in shaping our own personalities? Are we able to choose which memories we can keep and let go? Or are we unavoidably shaped by these memories? And what happens when we build our sense of self around a painful or fractured memory? I'll try to give my own response to these questions during the last section of this video. Memories are likely to be the most important aspect in shaping who we are, and are considered to be the core part of a foundation for the development of our identity. The experiences we have, the relationships we form, and the very emotions we experience are a part of this development process, influencing how we see the world, how we see others, and how we see ourselves. It is known that people sometimes cling on to certain memories in order to preserve a sense of self, a self that may strengthen or weaken them, even if those memories are undoubtedly hurtful towards them. Therefore, we can assume that memory can both initiate or hinder the development of identity, depending on how it is processed or internalized. While memories can help us to develop and define who we are, they can also confine us within our past. Some people come into our lives just to leave a part of them with us, a part that sometimes ends up blending in with our own identities. This very reason might be why sometimes it feels like when we lose someone, we are also losing a part of ourselves. In the context of Silent Hill, James's identity is shaped by his memory of Mary, his love for her, his guilt over her death, and his inability to leave his past behind. James's memories aren't just reminders of his experience. They also act as influence towards his actions and his understanding of what he perceives and experiences throughout his journey. Maria and Pyramid Head both serve as metaphors for what James is going through internally. As I've mentioned earlier, Maria represents a comforting personification of James's memory of Mary, the only true company and sense of safety we are given throughout the game, while Pyramid Head acts as a living manifestation of his inner conflict within himself. At a first glance, Pyramid Head appears to be the villain of the story, especially with his brutal execution of Maria in constant opposition to James. However, I would argue that Pyramid Head actually represents a very misunderstood part of James's psyche, a manifestation created by James, much like Maria, but one that exists in order to save himself from his inner and outer struggles. An observation that can be made is that throughout certain sections of the game, Pyramid Head unlocks specific areas and even pushes James towards new unexplored locations within the town. The game elusively suggests that James is always diving further and deeper into his subconscious, constantly being challenged by having to walk the path of truth, a truth that the player begins to unfold as the game progresses. It's almost as if James is being led into his own mind by Pyramid Head, while Maria tries to keep his attention fixed onto herself, keeping James imprisoned within this hellish present and tied to his regretful past. Mechanically, Pyramid Head acts as a guide entity that forces James to let go of his memories of Mary and pushes him to move forward towards his emotional healing, even if it comes at the cost of painfully traumatizing experiences. Because we all know that sometimes the truth can be painful, and in James's case, this is no exception. By understanding memory and how much it influences the development of our identity, it allows us to see the contrast between finding comfort in the past and the risk of letting that past define us, both in our present and in our future. Maria's prison scene is a striking portrayal of what I like to call a refuge of torment. A place where comfort and pain are inseparably linked, but never attained. A two-way mirror depicting James's internal struggle. James' refusal to move on from his past creates a bittersweet comfort, one so strong it takes form as Maria, a figure crafted by his deepest subconscious desires. And like I've mentioned before, Maria incorporates an idealized version of Mary, embodying her warmth and her affection. But instead of offering true consolation, Maria becomes both a refuge and a prison, trapping James in a restless cycle of self-inflicted torment. Her sensual, manipulative demeanor draws James closer to his romanticized version of his wife, offering a fake sense of comfort and support, while her repeated deaths throughout the game force James to relive her loss over and over again, intensifying his suffering and serving as a dark reminder for his failure to save his wife. The imagery also shows the cruel irony of James's current situation. The scene depicts James being so close to what he desires most, yet it remains unattainable and out of his reach. The bars not only separate him from Maria, but also symbolize the unattainable nature of his wish, reinforcing that no matter how real she may seem, Maria can never truly embody nor replace Mary. Silent Hill 2 is a game unlike any other I've experienced before. Its mature themes are explored with such care and elegance, showing the thought and attention put into its development. Me being a kid, I was not ready to experience the emotional depth of its dark narrative, and I would go even as far as to say that it left me somewhat traumatized by its unsettling nature and depressing atmosphere. In a way, much like how James's memories of his wife shape and define his journey within Silent Hill, my own memory of the game became a part of my identity. It's a game that has stuck with me, one I've revisited time and time again, whether through replays or video essays throughout the years. Silent Hill 2 shows us some of the possible scenarios and reasons as to why some people, like James, cling to painful memories. His fixation on the memory of Mary, despite the emotional toll they take, reveal that we often hold on to the past because it reminds us of a moment in time where a part of us felt safe and unbroken. Letting go of the past often means letting go of a piece of yourself, reminding us that facing an uncertain future to some may feel just as scary as leaving something behind. We saw that for James, the memory of Mary represents both a refuge and a prison. While it offers him moments of comfort, it also prevents him from healing. This duality explains why people often struggle to move on, showing us that even painful memories can provide a sense of comfort in an otherwise chaotic world, Memories, especially of loved ones or traumatic events, may act as an emotional shelter, keeping some of us bound to the past, even when that past no longer has anything left to offer. Our past experiences shape our identities, but they don't define us entirely. While memories influence our choices and the way we perceive the world, we still have the freedom to decide how we approach whatever path we take. Though we may not choose which memories stay with us, we can control how we interpret and act on them. When we let painful or fractured memories define us, like James and his memories of Mary, they can trap us in a cycle that prevents us from moving forward, fully embracing the present and becoming a better version of ourselves. So in the end, we can assume that the best way to move on is to finally come to terms with our past. Silent Hill 2 shows us how holding on to painful memories, no matter how comforting or familiar they may seem, they can always trap us in a cycle of guilt, regret, or stagnation. James's journey teaches us that true healing requires facing the truth, accepting our pain, and releasing the weight of the past. Only then can we break free from the emotional prisons we create for ourselves and embrace the possibility of a future unrestricted by what once held us back. Thank you to all of you who made it till the very end. If there's something I missed, feel free to leave a comment down below. If there are other games that you would like to see me cover, or new drawings that you would like to see me do, don't hesitate to leave suggestions. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.